Avatar: The Next Shadow is a four-issue mini-series published by Dark Horse. It's based, obviously, on the Avatar James Cameron movie, and it's actually a direct sequel to it. The author was Jeremy Barlow, and it came out this year in April 21. Um, I am a huge James Cameron Avatar fan, and it's one of those things where James Cameron doesn't just give this franchise to people to play with. Um, Considering the success of the Avatar movie, you would think there'd be toys and merchandise everywhere, and we would have more than just this four series comic to go on. But James Cameron held it close to his chest. He looked at what was going on with Star Wars, and he looked at what was going on with some of his other franchises like Terminator, and he said, you know what? I'm going to make sure that this doesn't turn into that. But unfortunately, every time he's let someone do something with the Avatar license that's not him, be it Ubisoft and now this comic book, it kind of is egg in his face because I don't know, they must have really good sales pitches. But let's just get on with the story. So, stop me if you've heard this one before. This comic book takes place about 2 weeks after the end of James Cameron's Avatar. And the premise early on is that Jake Sully is trying to maintain the human and Na'vi relationship between the humans that stayed behind on Pandora and the Na'vi that obviously lived there. The problem is the humans need the resources on the planet to survive. They cannot breathe the oxygen there, so they rely on the resources to power these machines that filter the air for them and provide them to live. So it's a really that's a pretty interesting thing to have to deal with. And in this, Jake Sully is not shy to the fact that he's struggling. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head. All of this happened so quickly, and now he's like, the clan chief, essentially. Now, unfortunately, not everyone is happy with Jake being the clan chief. Tsutey's little brother is manipulated by his parents. If you're not familiar with the franchise, Tsutey was the Prospect clan leader. He was going to marry Neytiri and become the leader of the Amatakaya people. But unfortunately, Tsutey dies in the movie. Spoilers, I know, but if you haven't seen James Cameron's Avatar, what can I do? And his bride-to-be, Neytiri, cheated on him with Jake, and they bonded. So, Tsutey's parents are not happy about this, and they trick their last remaining son to challenge Jake to trial by combat, which is actually a deleted scene from the movie that they never used between Jake and Tsutey. They then lace his knife with poison that will kill Jake. So, Jake and Tsutey's little brother, whose name I do not remember, they have this trial by combat, and Jake actually wins because he's a US Marine and he's actually trained in combat versus these tribes people. And with that being said, he wins the battle, he draws first blood, and you think it's all over. Unfortunately, Tsutey's little brother throws the knife at him when he's not looking, and it cuts him. It cuts his hand, and he gets the poison and falls into a coma. Now, luckily, Jake is not 100% Na'vi. He's got human DNA in him because his Na'vi is a creation. So Jake slips into this coma, but it doesn't kill him. Meanwhile, the Na'vi have to get the humans to go and find a rare plant for them that'll cure Jake and wake him up, because they're the only people small enough on the planet to go into this cave and get this rare plant. Now, the other Na'vi aren't happy about this because this is a sacred site for them. But we don't address that further than what I've said in the comic book. They just say they're not happy about it. And we have to remember the Na'vi are 7 to 12 feet tall. They are huge. Like the children are like 5'5" to 6'1", and the adults are like up to 12 feet tall. They are huge, 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 big cat people. So the humans go off and they get the flower. Meanwhile, Jake is in a coma and he has a fever dream. And in this fever dream, he sees Tsutey, and he sees Quaritch, and he battles his own inner demons in his fever dream because he's unsure of himself as a leader. The humans come back. They give Jake the cure. He wakes up from the coma, and he's a new man with new confidence thanks to his dream state where he battled his past demons and woke up. He banishes the family who attacked him and cheated, but he does not kill them like they were meant to be. He just banishes them. And then Neytiri rides in on a horse and they hug and kiss, and that's the end of the 4-series comic. Now, I'm kind of upset about this for a few reasons. You've got a rare opportunity, Jeremy Barlow and artist Josh Hood, to work on James Cameron's Avatar, a franchise not many people get to work on. And this franchise has such a visual spectacle to it. And there is so much depth you can go on. Like, there are full encyclopedias explaining every single plant down to how it, like, everything about it. James Cameron was not, he was very detailed about creating this world. And I know because I own these encyclopedias. And they didn't use any of this stuff that they could have used. They really whiffed it. How many times have we seen the story of the hero getting poisoned, falling into a coma, and then battling his inner demons and waking up? Like, you get given James Cameron's Avatar, and you're like, oh, I got a good idea for this. We'll use one of the most common tropes ever known and wing it. Like, it feels like such a slap in the face if you're an Avatar fan, because all we've got is the one movie, and the game by Ubisoft, and the future game by Ubisoft, and a couple mobile games. But that's all we got. And James Cameron finally let someone go, you know what, Dark Horse. And look, Dark Horse aren't new to the game. They're like, hey, make an Avatar comic. And this is what we get. We get the most phoned in, boring, one of the most overused stories that we've all seen a million times before. And then art-wise, it doesn't even look like Pandora. It looks like Earth with big trees. Like, they didn't really look into it at all. They borrowed a couple, like, and when I say a couple, like 2 or 3 of the key creatures from the movie. And once again, there's encyclopedias of this stuff, down to every detail you need to know about the planet, all like fact-checked and like scientifically proven by people like scientists that James Cameron hired to critique his work. And they came up with the most drab, boring, cut and paste story with the most boring typical art. Some scenes even look like they just traced it from the movie and drew over the top. And it's just so disheartening. I expected so much more from this story. So much more. And I'm so upset that this is all we got. I would say if you're a James Cameron Avatar fan, you might read it just to get a little bit more Avatar. If you aren't like a super fan, like if you can't speak Na'vi, don't bother with this. It's not worth the time, sadly. And I really didn't want to say that because I love this franchise. I'm very excited for the future movies. I hope it doesn't go the way of everything else. But unfortunately, this was not a good one.